made engineers in this country that will be able to deliver on the mandate of this government. Finally, I also want to applaud the government effort in ensuring that we are resilient to climate change. And we know that energy contributes about 65% of the greenhouse emission gases. And we are also honored to state that as we speak currently, this country has 92% of clean energy that we are generating. And moving to 2030, the government is actually committed to ensure that we have 100% of clean energy. And we want to really appreciate that fact, that even as we replace the thermal energy that contributes to the high cost of energy in this country, the plans that the government has even to introduce nuclear energy will go a long way in ensuring that we have stability, we have reliability at cost-reflective price. Finally, I wish to address the industrialization, of course, the last mile infrastructure, the use of local content and manufacturing, and engineers' support on making each county a center of industrial development that provides all the local products for large-scale products. And we are committing that engineers will be able to come up with innovative ideas that will be able to reduce the cost of materials so that then we can be able to develop this country forward. Your Excellency, I wish to propose to you that as a way forward, as the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, to incorporate a small team of engineers emanating from the Institution of Engineers of Kenya and your team in coming up with an implementation plan that will enable this country to fast-track some of this development agenda that we are alive to in the next 5 years. I wish to conclude by thanking you once again for honoring our invitation, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in State House so that we can advance this discussion further as well. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. As you're aware, Institution of Engineers of Kenya also collaborate with other international bodies. We are a member of the East African Federation of Engineering Organization. We are also a member of the Federation of African Engineering Organization and also a member of the World Federation of Engineering Organization. And I want to bring to your attention, Your Excellency, that the current president-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organization is an African, a Nigerian, one of our very own. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome one engineer, Mustafa Shehu, who will be joining us online all the way from Taiwan to make his comment. Thank you so much and welcome, Engineer Shehu.
Thank you very much, Engineer. The President, Engineering Institute. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, the Chairman, Engineers Board of Kenya, Erastus Mwongero, the board members of the Engineers Board of Kenya, Cabinet Ministers, Principal Secretaries, fellows and members of the Institution of Engineers Kenya, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by thanking the Chairman, EBK, Engineer Erastus Mwongero, for inviting me to participate at this important 4th Engineering Partnership Convention taking place in Naivasha, Nakuru County. Intention to actually be there physically in Kenya to witness this particular convention, because in the last 10 years I have been actively participating in IEK conferences every year in Kenya. And that is why when I come to Kenya, I don't feel like I'm in another country. I feel it's just another extension of Nigeria. I feel very homely whenever I come to Kenya. So the program we are having here in Taichung in Taiwan, that has made it and that explains the reason. I'm also at the convention honored by the President of His Excellency, President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, which is indicating clearly that you have the intention for the engineers in order to deliver on your manifesto, which is centered on infrastructural development of Kenya. Let me also use this opportunity to congratulate you on your election victory, and also on your successful taking over the mantle of leadership of the Republic of Kenya. For us in Nigeria, we view Kenya very closely, being one of our sister countries, and we have so many things in common with Kenya. So personally, I have been following with keen interest your exemplary leadership style in trying to make Kenya and the African continent take their appropriate place socially and economically. In this respect, I congratulate you for the promotion of fair trading within the African continent through the World Trade Organization and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as well as the bottom-up economic transformation agenda on food security, housing, and other infrastructure development, which the President making Africa great, and by extension, the Republic of Kenya, for the good of Kenyans and Africans in general. As a president-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, it will be appropriate for me to say a little about the Federation, which is a global body of engineers founded in 1968 under the auspices of UNESCO, with secretariat located at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. It is a non-governmental and non-profit organization with its membership comprising over 100 countries, representing over 30 million engineers globally. It is recognized at UNESCO as a strategic partner with associates to organize the UNESCO World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development on 4th of March of each year. WFEO is a member of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. It's the United Nations Science and Technology Major Group. The role and responsibility of engineers in addressing the challenges facing society is more recognized and acknowledged worldwide. Through its activities, WFEO engages with governments. And when we say government, we mean governments at national, continental, and global level, policymakers and United Nations leadership to present the engineering perspective on issues affecting the global community. It will be of interest that Kenyan engineers and African engineers in general are participating very actively in the affairs of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations and other global engineering organizations, especially in the last 12 years. As at now, we have at the World Federation of Engineering Organization 6 out of the 26 member executive council membership of the WFEO from Africa, and that includes a Kenyan in the person of Engineer Nathaniel Matalanga, who is very much with me here in Taichung, Taiwan. Also, for the first time in history of WFEO, as mentioned by the IEK President, Engineer Eric Ohaga, we are going to have from Sub-Saharan Africa, World Federation will take over in October 2023 this year. And it will be, let me use this opportunity to invite Your Excellency for this very important occasion, which will take place in Prague, the Czech Republic. And of course, the cabinet ministers in Kenya are also very much invited. So on this, let me put this responsibility on the IEK President and the Chairman, Engineers Board of Kenya, to make sure that a lot of our members from the engineering community in Kenya participate at the forthcoming World Engineers Convention taking place in Prague, Czech Republic. This could only be achieved through a lot of hard work and cooperation between in the last couple of years. This also serves as a pointer to our countries that as we are trusted at the global level, it goes without saying that we should also be trusted at our home level of technical and leadership responsibility. besides having a leadership position involved with the Federation of Engineering Organizations, our African engineers also have a leadership position in World Council of Civil Engineers. My brother here, Engineer Matalanga, is the treasurer of the World Council in the World Council of Civil Engineers, which means he's an executive council member of that global civil engineering organization. Another milestone which the engineering institutions in Africa are achieving is regarding the ability of the engineers' qualification to be accepted in other parts of the world, which is done only through the registration with International Engineering Alliance to become signatories to Washington Accord. So far, Kenya, Mauritius, Rwanda, and Zambia have started the process. It is gladdening to note that, or rather to inform this gathering that just this morning, Nigeria has been admitted into the membership of the International Engineering Alliance to have provisional signatory status of the Washington Accord. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is sad, but Africa is the most underdeveloped continent with huge infrastructure deficit and lags behind in all human development indices. While this may look disturbing, our leadership should see this as an opportunity to develop the capacities of our engineering personnel to be used. This can be done through deliberate policies of
We apologize for the internet connection, but allow us to swiftly move on. I'm sure we've got the gist of it. Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to now invite Erastus Mongera, Chairperson, Engineering Board of Kenya. Tumpigie makofi akija tafadhali. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Roads and Transport, Your Excellency, the Governor of Nakuru, Honorable Susan Kihika, the Honorable Tabitha Karanja, Senator of Nakuru County, Principal Secretary for State Department of Roads, Engineer Joseph Mbogwa, and all the other PSs present, honorable members of Parliament present, board members of MBK, council members of the Institution of Engineers, the President of the East Africa Engineering Organization, Engineer Collins Juma, our guests from the African continent and Asia continent, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, before I make very, very few remarks, allow me to recognize our guests who are present today. We have a very big delegation from our sister country, Tanzania, led by the chairman of the Engineers Registration Board and the president of the Institution of Engineers of Tanzania. If you can be upstanding, please. Let's appreciate them. We have a delegation from all the way from Malaysia, the Board of Engineers of Malaysia. Your Excellency, this delegation is very special to us in Kenya because they are our official mentors, two ones acceding to this Washington Accord, and we have Professor Engineer Assis in that delegation. We have a delegation from South Sudan, if you can be upstanding. Delegation from Uganda, if you can be upstanding. Delegation from Nigeria, if you can be upstanding, and we congratulate you on acceding to the Washington Accord. Your Excellency, let me also recognize members of the board of the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, if you can be upstanding, board members. Thank you very much. Let me also recognize the Council of the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, if you can be upstanding. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Board of Engineers of Kenya is honored and extremely delighted that you could join us today for the 4th Engineering Partnership. Your Excellency, if we sound repetitive, it's because of the excitement in our hearts. Since the independence of this country, you are the first president of our republic to meet an engineering gathering and address us. Your Excellency, we feel very, very honored, and anything you would have loved to tell us engineers, we are all here. From the senior-most to our interns who we are training. We have the Graduate Engineers Internship Program. It's a 3-year program for fresh graduate engineers. It is mirrored, Your Excellency, very much on the model of PSC, but we extend this to 3 years because the Engineers Act demanded that they go through training for 3 years. We have under 3 cohorts, and today we have the 4th cohort. In the first 3, we recruited 100 because of financial restraints. This year, we have 120. We thank you, Your Excellency, for the budgetary provision that has made us add the number to 120. And we want to assure you, Your Excellency, that this program is bearing a result, because the first cohort completed their 3 years in February this year, and 6 of them have already graduated and passed the professional examination to be professional engineers. So today, Your Excellency, will be requesting you to commission this group of 120 engineers. They have already gone through the induction, and they will be set to go to the field. Graduate engineers, if you can be upstanding for the 120 graduate engineers, they are right at the back. We appreciate you. On the journey to the Washington Accord, Your Excellency, we started this in 2019. We had an interruption of COVID for 2 years, but we have now started the journey in earnest. Professor Sis, in addition to attending this convention, has been training our assessors, drawn from all the universities in this country who are teaching engineering programs. That was done on Monday and Tuesday, and it has gone very well. We want to congratulate our brothers from Nigeria for being attended this morning, and we hope Kenya will be the next, by next year, to accede to this accord. Your Excellency, the Engineers Act, mandates us to establish the Kenya School of Engineering. We have started work on this. The school will deliver practical knowledge, holistic learning, and support long-term manpower needs. Occasionally, we have students training in universities which have not met the requirements, and this school will be filling that gap. The board requests for your government support through our ministry to establish this school. On partnership and collaboration, the board has entered into strategic partnerships with many partners. The last one we witnessed, Your Excellency, was in November last year in Korea, where we signed an MOU with the Korean Professional Engineering Association. This MOU has started bearing good fruit. This week, they announced that they are extending an offer of 2 graduates in environmental engineering in recognition of the effort and the passion you have on saving our environment. And this will be one male, one female engineers to go and do masters on environmental engineering. They are also considering, Your Excellency, in supporting us in building capacity, and there's a proposal for them to, they are experts to come here, recruit our engineers, train them for 6 months, and then give them in South Korea. So this is getting a very good support, Your Excellency. We have also our mutual recognition agreement between our East Africa partners, that is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda. We're in the process of processing admission for South Sudan, Burundi, and DRC, Congo. We are, so that we can all be part of this MRA. What this means, Your Excellencies, once engineers are registered in this country, they don't need further registration in their other countries. They can get jobs there. This will facilitate trade in these areas. Finally, Your Excellency, allow me to acknowledge the sponsors of this event. We have the Institution of Engineers, who have been our partners throughout. We have the Association of Consulting Engineers, ASEC, who have been also good partners. And we have platinum sponsors, the One Bank, Ketraco, Kenya Power, and Apex Steel. Let's appreciate them. We have the gold and the silver sponsors, KBC, Kenya, Safaricom, Kura, and Kingdom Bank. We have exhibitors, NSC, NSC International, Nupea, Bedeo Fashions, Oplet Stores, Kibit, Isuzu East Africa, MAFA East Africa, and the CIC Insurance. Your Excellency, we'll be requesting you to launch the engineers registration photo. As you are aware, Your Excellency, there has been a lot of blame game when structures collapse. Engineers are quick to say, this is the job of quacks. Quacks are quick to say, this is the job of engineers. And today, Your Excellency, we want to have a registration portal where engineers will be registering all the projects they are involved in, and therefore there will be no excuse. With those few remarks, Your Excellency, let me once again say we are very delighted to have you, and thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the good work you are doing for this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Rastus Mongera, who's the Chairperson, Engineers Board of Kenya. Next, I would like to call upon Engineer Joseph Mugwa, Principal Secretary, Roads. Tumpigie makofi akija. Welcome.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of this great republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. In the interest of time, allow me to skip so many protocols and recognize them as distinguished guests. But on special recognition, allow me to just allow Engineer Tanui and also Joel Apariang, my counterpart PSS, just to stand up and wave the crowd. Your Excellency, this is one of the babies that fall in my docket under your Executive Order number 1 of 2023, where EBK is the regulator of all our engineering fraternity. And because we are all represented here, including our engineers from our authorities, other agencies, other partners within our subsector, allow me just to appreciate them for being here with us, and also special recognition to some of our elders like Engineer Kirago, who has always mentored many in this subsector. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, in the interest of time, we are always happy to be represented by our minister, our cabinet secretary. He has the dream of our ministry, and we follow what he guides us through you. And in this specific occasion, let me recognize the huge support that he has given us as a subsector and also as the department, and the guidance that all of us are enjoying. And in the interest of time, let him talk about our ministry, where we serve under him. Welcome, our CS.
Your Excellency President William Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and the Commander-in-Chief, my friend, Governor Susan Kihika, the Governor of the great county of Nakuru, our PS, Engineer Mbugwa, leaders who are present, led by our Senator, and the Engineers Board of Kenya, and all the engineers present, local and international. Good afternoon. Good afternoon again. Your Excellency, let me first start by recognizing the elected leaders who are here. Please, even they may be upstanding, just for me to recognize. It's an honor for us to have them here. We have the Senator of Nakuru County and the Deputy Majority Leader in the Senate, Senator Tabitha Karanja. I was honored to hold the same position in the past, Your Excellency, so I'm very proud of what Tabitha is doing. Thank you. We have our Chairman of Committee of Environment and Lands in the Senate and the Senator of the neighboring county of Nyandarua, Honorable Senator Wapenina Medhu, John Wapenina Medhu. Your Excellency, you already, I didn't know, when you look at Engineer Chege, he doesn't look like an elder. But anyway, the PS has said, Engineer Chege John Kiragu is the Member of Parliament of Limuru, a member of this committee, our Committee of Transport and Roads, and also an engineer by his own right. If you see many previous, we have the Deputy Governor, my friend, the Deputy Governor of Kericho County, Engineer Fred Kirui, an engineer also on his own right. You can see Engineer Mosonik is here, you can see Engineer Mahmoud Mohammed, and a host of so many public servants in the past and present who have served in this docket. Your Excellency, on behalf of all these leaders, I will give Governor, I almost say Senator, Governor Susan Kihika 1 minute to welcome us to her county, Your Excellency. Please, let's clap for Governor Susan Kihika.
Thank you. Thank you, Waziri. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Waziri Murkomen, the PSs, our Senator Tabitha Karanja, and the other senators and members of Parliament, Engineer Erastus Mongere, the Chairperson of Engineers Board, Engineer Eric Ohaga, Engineer Margaret Ogai. Let me also just adopt the protocols that had been mentioned there before, because actually I've been given 1 minute, and because we have interns here, I have to be able to be a good example, right? So it is actually my pleasure to join you this morning and welcome you to this great county of Nakuru as for this engineering partnership convention here at Sawela Lodge, Naivasha. So allow me to welcome all of you to Nakuru County. Your Excellency, I must acknowledge the decision by the engineering board to hold this, to choose this county as the venue for this great convention. We are really happy about that, and it will help and continues to help boost Nakuru as a destination for this kind of conventions and any other. And it is my hope that when the convention is finished, they can all sample the unlimited opportunities available here in Naivasha for your relaxation at the end of your daily sessions as well. Your Excellency, I have been informed that, or rather have seen and have heard that this year's theme of the convention is transforming Kenya's economy, engineers' contribution to development. The contribution of engineering to the development of any country cannot be overemphasized. It is safe to say that engineers are the wheel behind the economic transformation of a nation. Our everyday life is a testament to the importance of engineering. When a mother wakes up early in the morning to prepare her children to go to school, she will switch on lights generated from one of our power plants, such as the All-Carrier power plant in this area, all courtesy of our electrical engineers. She will then proceed to take her children to school on a road that has been constructed and maintained by a civil engineer. Her children will be in a class constructed by a structural engineer. I hope I'm getting it right? The mother then proceeds to her farm where she prepares her land for planting, and to improve the output of her farm, an agricultural engineer advised her on ways to minimize production costs while increasing her profits. At the end of the day, Your Excellency, as her children go home, they meet a road construction team with heavy equipment. The children develop the desire to one day operate such equipment, and the dream of becoming an engineer is born. Such is the everyday life of most Kenyans. The economic giants of the world, Your Excellency, all relied on engineering to develop and grow their economies. For instance, when a country like China planned infrastructural development during the 20th century, they noted the importance of revolutionary engineering in their plan. History shows that they sent their engineers as understudies to the then economic giants. When the time came to actualize their dream, China had the necessary skills, and the development witnessed in the Asian economic giant from the late 20th century to the century is a testament to this. The aspiration of the African continent through Agenda 2063, locally through our Kenya Vision 2030, as well as the more recent Kenya Kwanza Plan, the plan, have set their pillars on infrastructural development to spur economic growth, create employment, as well as improve the quality of life for the citizens. History has shown that it is susceptible to external shocks until a country can produce its goods and products. As a country, we should be able to grow our engineering capabilities to sustain our needs. For instance, in recent months, the construction industry has faced challenges regarding a sharp increase in the cost of materials occasioned by shocks in the supply market. This challenge should be a wake-up call to innovators, especially within our country, who should seek ways to provide alternative or cheaper materials for use in the construction industry. One of the aspirations of this conference, Your Excellency, as I finish, is to seek ways to liberalize engineering services within the East African community and the African Free Continental Trade Area. This is a noble agenda, considering as per capita number of engineering professionals across the continent is lower in comparison with other regions in the world. The African continent should be able to share engineering skills that will spur economic growth within our regions. From conversations across the globe, Africa is the next big thing, and the only way to take our place is through advancing our engineering for economic development. So, I have skipped all that, Your Leader. As I conclude my remarks, I invite you to tour this great county of Nakuru, from hiking at Mount Longonot, boat riding on Lake Naivasha, and a game drive at the Lake Nakuru National Park. You are set for an experience of a lifetime. And I think I'm speaking especially to the ones who've come from neighboring countries, though I know some of you, my fellow Kenyans, have not experienced the thrill of those areas. So I invite you, Karibuni, Nakuru County. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Governor, for also skipping part of your speech. The fact that you actually wrote a speech, you take engineers very seriously. In many other conferences we go, governors will understand and welcome you to tour around, but you applied your mind to this conference. Your Excellency, we, like the PS said, we are very proud as a ministry to have the Engineers Board of Kenya having been able to organize this very important conference for now the 4th time. You are the first president to be able to attend this function, Your Excellency. And it is not by accident. It is not by accident. It is also because you are a president who is a scientist, and you have a lot of respect for professional work. Number 2 is also, Your Excellency, you are the first president to be trained locally from your first degree to the last degree. So professionally, we don't want to say other people, but we want to say we really appreciate the fact that you are a locally trained professional and you respect a professional life of our professionals here. Your Excellency, I just want to say that we take this engineer seriously. I may not be an engineer, Your Excellency, but all these engineers need the services of a lawyer. And when you appointed me to this ministry, I'm sure the engineers, when you join first year in the university, Susan will confirm this, is that in law, the first case you will get is for Rylands versus Fletcher, which was an engineer who had constructed his house on the neighborhood, and then because of that construction, water percolated to the next farm. So the question was, this man is in his farm, he has built his own dam, but how is it possible that this what? No, how do you hold him liable now that this is his property, but the water has percolated to the next neighbor? Then lawyers came up with something called the principle of strict liability. And we solved the problems that are caused by these engineers, Your Excellency. So, as a matter of fact, I am very happy that I have been welcomed to this ministry by these engineers.
It is highly encouraging to learn about the activities of dedicated professionals who are independently engaged in progressive endeavors that are nonetheless aligned with our plan. I must emphasize this, that the Engineers Board of Kenya is holding this convention for the 4th year is impressive, appropriate, and commendable. And I want to assure you of the government of Kenya's support. It is important that Kenyan professionals meet periodically to reflect on professional standards and quality, impact, and their greater socioeconomic institutional role. As they do so, it is essential for them to deliberate on their role and contribution to the national transformation agenda, because Kenyans rightfully expect it of all of us. As for you, our engineers, there is no better time to be contemplating essential professional matters than now. The reason is that our agenda creates opportunities for substantial inputs from the engineering profession. There is definitely a fundamental role for engineers and engineering in the actualization of all important dimensions and aspects of our plan. We have a target to enhance the contribution of industry to the national GDP by 20% by the year 2030. To do this, we shall have to engage in competitive manufacturing on a large scale. Agro-industrial manufacturing, for value addition in particular, is the most viable means of growing our manufactured local products and imports, together with exports. This, in turn, requires a robust capacity to support rising efficiency in every industrial process, or in other words, engineering and engineers. Modern medical technology. Yesterday I was in Kirinyaga, and a lady was taking us around, and she said she was a biomedical engineer. And she persuaded me that she knew what she was doing. That is the space, that is the kind of profession that we need as we roll out our universal health coverage, and will require greater investment in state-of-the-art equipment. Madam Susan Kihika will tell you we have a hospital nearby here. I have discussed with her, and she needs additional equipment to be able to better serve the medical and the health needs of the people of Nakuru County. The affordable housing plan, our Minister for Lands and Housing is right here. That whole ecosystem around our housing plan, from quantity surveyors, structural engineers, all manner of professionals in between, we will need them to underwrite our plan on universal access to affordable housing. That is part of our agenda for the next 5 years. Our commitment on ICT and the digital superhighway pillar. I was having a conversation yesterday with Google and MasterCard, and they were informing me that they need software engineers between 500 and 1,000 every year if we were to make meaning of our digital economy going into the future. Again, that is the space we will be working with you on actualizing our aspirations and making sure that we position not just Kenya, but we position our continent appropriately as a continent of the future. Not only do we need engineering professions to guide the implementation of programs and projects under our plan, but we also have to go deeper. Competitive efficiency is essential for transformation and calls for constant innovation. I mean, the engineer of yesterday, if you don't update your skills, if you don't update your qualifications, it is very easy to be obsolete, especially in an ecosystem, a world that is evolving at the rate at which we are. For example, I remember having a conversation like, I think 9 years ago, with engineers from the Ministry of Roads. And we were asking them critical questions. And it took us almost a year of argument on how we can deliver our road program, but with a bit of innovation and creativity. Eventually, our engineers came through and they developed what we eventually called our low-volume seal component of our roads. Engineer Mosonik is here, a good another engineer. What was the name of that fellow from Nyahururu? Engineer Mainge. I have a lot of respect for that gentleman because together with Engineer Mosonik, we were able to unlock 10,000 kilometers of road that we have built under our low-volume seal road program. That is what innovation, creativity, thinking out of the box can bring on board. And I encourage you as engineers in the profession where you are to continuously innovate, continuously work with others. And I'm happy that there is mentorship going on from Malaysia, from other areas, and we are all encouraging and working with each other to see how we can better make sure that there is mutual recognition of qualifications, of skills, and of competencies across the board so that we can create a global workforce for all of us. Similarly, our engineers in Kengen, who effectively benefited from technology transfers in important areas of clean and green geothermal power. Right here in Nakuru, we have the largest, I think in our continent, the largest power plants. Again, courtesy of our engineers. I was in Djibouti day before yesterday, and Kengen, GDC, our engineers are spreading the technology and knowledge all the way to Djibouti. That is the trajectory as policymakers we want to look at and work with you so that we can create a transboundary category of human capital that will help build infrastructure, whether they be in the energy sector, in the road sector, in the transport sector, that can lift our continent and lift our countries into a competitive platform that we can compete with others. These are the most recent instances of encouraging leadership from our engineers. I challenge this esteemed fraternity to go further and implement energy-efficient innovations in transport and further improve on e-mobility innovations. Kenya, we spend $500 million, $500 million every month on our petroleum products that we use in our transport sector. E-mobility can actually take that to zero. We can not only innovate around e-mobility, about what we can do with renewable energy. We have huge resources of wind, we have huge resources of solar, and we can power our economy, especially around the mobility space, using renewable energy. There is a debate that is going on whether development can be powered by renewable energy. Kenya is an example. 92% of our grid is renewable energy, and we are making strides. It is our focus that by 2030, 100% of our grid should be green energy or renewable energy. That is a trajectory because of the effects of climate change that we are all concerned about. These and many other weighty matters, ladies and gentlemen, must occupy your minds and anchor your deliberations as you strategize on ways and means of facilitating members of your profession to exploit emerging opportunities for innovation and make their contribution to the development of our countries, the development of our continent, and as I said, so that we can position our human capital to be global, and we can position our continent to tap into the opportunities that come with the space where we occupy today as a continent. I look forward to you giving consideration in your agenda on these very important issues, and hopefully to reinforce your critical mandate in education and training by supporting the design, improvement, and implementation of the most appropriate national STEM curriculum for our present and future productive and competitive needs. I'm very happy that we have mentees and mentors in this gathering, people who are going through the motions to become better professionals. You're also vested with the immense mandate of using innovation as a professional value and entrenching it deeply in Kenya's engineering culture in all sectors, especially in education, research, and even in practice. I make this call for a very considered reason. Engineering is vital for national economic growth and development. The strong relationship between a nation's engineering capacity and its economic development is well documented and established. We are committed to developing an optimal national engineering capacity to support the transformation of our country and to prepare our country to position our human capital, because we have requests for human capital across the globe. I had an occasion to engage with the Chancellor of Germany. I have had a discussion with the President of Canada. I have had a conversation with many other actors in the UAE, in Saudi, and they are all looking for human capital. It is important that that professions like you work with policymakers. Let me give you another example. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with our actors who are supporting us with developing our labor for export. And one important aspect was mutual recognition of qualifications. I'm very happy that in this conversation, we are looking at how do we make sure that our region, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and East Africa, progressively into the African continent, how do we standardize our professional training? How do we make it easier for us to work across the different countries? And how do we even make it easier for our professionals to work globally? It is therefore very urgent for us to use every opportunity to impart necessary skills and competence to learners from an early age, and in fact, all the way from pre-primary to the tertiary level of education. In that connection, I'm delighted to commission the fourth cohort of the Graduate Engineers Internship Program today. The program is designed to accelerate professional training and to cut the time required to qualify as engineers from between 7 and 12 years to only 3 years. In recognition of these needs of transforming the economy, the government is going to scale up the program from its current enrollment of 120 to 500 trainees in the next financial year. Maybe we should, it is a good point to congratulate all the interns who are graduating today. Can they stand up, the interns, to wapige makofi? Those great people. Congratulations, and we look forward to working with you going into the future. I'm also delighted to witness the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Engineers Board of Kenya when it happened in Korea a few months ago, and the chair of the Engineers Board was there with us. And I want to commit that the government of Kenya is also committed to the delivery of high-quality engineering capacity by establishing Kenya School of Engineering that somebody has alluded to. You can count on us, the engineers at the Ministry of the Ministry of Transport and Roads can use the services of the lawyers in the ministry to make sure that all that is put together. We shall therefore support the Engineers Board of Kenya in this endeavor. Mr. Chairman, you can count on my support as we do that. Through the board, we are facilitating total compliance with the highest standards of engineering by building contractors and developers. It should no longer be possible for projects to employ unqualified people or to proceed without employing an engineer altogether. Qualified engineers must supervise building works from the commencement all the way to completion. And I am happy that now there will be a portal where we can all know who is an engineer and who is a pretender. And that all projects that are being undertaken, both by government of Kenya or by even the private sector, that a portal will give us who the engineers, who the professionals are, so that we can hold them to account. I expect the Engineers Board to flag out the people who are not living in accordance with the provision of ethics of your profession. It should be your responsibility, more than anybody else, before the public complaint, before other agencies come for your members who are acting outside the law or unprofessionally. The board itself should be able to take action. And self-regulation should be the norm rather than the exception. I approve and support Kenya's bid to accede to the Washington Accord under the International Engineering Alliance and to promote international recognition of Kenyan engineering programs and qualifications, as I commend Nigeria for being admitted today. Congratulations, and you are trailblazing so that the other African countries can follow. I also support the enhancement of global mobility of Kenyan engineers. Such initiatives, including the recent admission of Engineers Board of Kenya as an affiliate of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, bring our sector to international standard and expose our professionals to international best practice. This is good for Kenya engineering and therefore good for our development agenda. Therefore, there should be no doubt about government's commitment in the promotion and development of Kenyan engineering as a decisive component of our development. I encourage you to use this convention to define a clear roadmap for raising the overall engineering standard and capacity and making a catalytic contribution to the development of our country and to the management of our plan. There is so much for you to do, and you must quickly get ready to start working with us. I am grateful that I have this opportunity to talk to a professional body, people who are involved in many aspects of our development. And you can count on us as we designed what we consider to be the next plan to get our country moving. All the components that we put in place need the support of professional bodies, need the support of engineers in all their aspects, whether it is our digital superhighway, whether it is our agriculture and value addition and agro-processing, whether it is the component of universal health coverage, and even the component that we are looking at in housing. We will need a whole array of engineering capacity and professionals to support this endeavor as we drive our country into the future. Let me just say one final thing, that as I reflect on what we are doing, I am reminded that in this year's budget, for example, we are spending $5 billion, almost 650 billion Kenya shillings, in our education, in our training, from primary school to university. We must be careful that as we spend this amount of money yearly, we must be careful to think about the output. What happens when all these men and women go through our education, our training, acquiring knowledge, acquiring skills, acquiring competencies? We must equally have a sound plan on how they are going to deploy the knowledge, the expertise, the skills, and the competencies they acquire in plowing back and developing our country. And that is why it is important for us to have a plan around jobs, around opportunities for entrepreneurship, around opportunities for doing business. That is as important as the plan we have on training, on educating, on ensuring that we have the best human capital. And as Kenyans, we must continuously reflect on how we want to do this and the means by which we're going to do it. I was expecting the engineers of Kenya to support the finance bill. I am surprised you guys are quiet. I have not heard your voice. You are the people who are going to benefit from the housing plan. You are the people who are going to implement our superhighway. You are the people who are going to implement our universal health coverage. You are the people. Now, you guys want me to do the heavy lifting, and you want to sit at the end and reap the benefits. That's not fair. I mean, good people. I think we should be in this together. So let me appreciate all of you for all the good that you're doing for our country, your contribution in making sure that whatever we are doing as a country is done professionally, is done in a manner that is sustainable. And I like what your president said about sustainability, making sure that all the aspects of our development. I remember I was having a conversation about the 100 large dams we want to build, the 1,000 smaller dams we want to build, and the almost 3,800 ponds and other categories of water harvesting and water storage interventions we want to make. Engineers will account for a substantial part of it. And I was having this conversation with the people at the Ministry of Water, the engineers at the Ministry of Water, and asking them the same question I was asking Michael Kamau when we interviewed him for the position of CS. I was asking Engineer Kamau then, why must we pay 80 million shillings for every kilometer of paved road? Isn't there another way we can do it, graduated, and we finally found a way? I'm very happy again, when we engaged the engineers at the Ministry of Water, they have now come up with an innovative, a much more creative way of delivery of our water harvesting infrastructure, our dams and ponds. So there is always room for us to innovate. There is always room for us to be creative. And I want to encourage you to travel that route. I wish you successful deliberations. Look forward with anticipation to receiving a report of your outputs and resolutions. And I'm sure I'll get it from my minister here. And I hope, like all lawyers, you will keep to the straight and narrow. And you will not interpret the report, you will just keep. I declare the 4th Engineering Partnership Convention officially opened. Congratulations, thank you very much, and God bless you.